Welcome to Weeping Willow Homestead, and today I have a garden tour for you. So this will be July's garden tour. I'm doing these kind of at the end of the month. So if you are new here, I would recommend going back and watching this year, and if you even want to go back and watch last year and the year before's garden tours. But this year's garden tours, watching the earlier ones, will kind of give you an idea of what this looked like as we went, because some things are just about done or completely done, while other things are just getting started. So it's kind of neat. I enjoy watching garden tours to see how things progress throughout the year. So this is what we call our kitchen garden. It's a smaller garden. I did the measurements a while back and I don't remember what it was. I might have to go back and look at the last video and tell you what it is, because now I don't remember. I wanted to say like 20 or 15 feet by 20 feet. No, each one of those panels was 10 feet. So it was 20 feet by 30 feet. Maybe that's what it was, is each one of those panels was 10 feet. I don't know. Anyway, so this is the smaller of our two gardens, and the purpose of this one, the purpose of a kitchen garden in general, is to plant the things that you are going to use right off the bat, rather than like freezing, storing, that kind of thing. It has not ever worked out like that, and it's fine. This is just a lot of times the first garden that gets planted, because it's easier to get it worked up and going than working up the big one, and it's right outside our back door, so it's easier to access and whatnot. So here we dug up the potatoes. I will put a picture in the video here of the potatoes that we dug. We got a decent harvest off of them, nothing like major, but enough for us to have potatoes for probably the next 3 months or so. Last year I canned up some potatoes and we're still using those. The kids aren't huge fans of them. It definitely changes the flavor. We do have a cellar, but our furnace, hot water heater, all of that is down in there, so it doesn't actually stay like cool like a cellar should, but at least it's dark and cooler. So that is where I'm storing them, and we just make it a point of using them quickly. If I notice that they're starting to get iffy and not looking great anymore, I will go ahead and can them or share them with friends. We've already given some to two separate households, and some of you, if you have been around for my videos for a while, the one is the older lady who used to run the food pantry and got let go from that position, and she's still doing great. She's an absolute doll. I absolutely love this lady. She's one of those like salt of the earth, amazing personality, nothing gets her down, super sweet. So I promised her that this summer I would make sure that every week she's getting fresh produce from the garden. So we're just going to start our own little CSA here of giving her produce. She does not owe me anything, and I even told her I would can green beans for her to have green beans hopefully all winter long. And then the other one is the lady who runs the clothing pantry and has just become a real good friend of ours. And her husband passed away 2 years ago, and she is figuring life out and making things work, but they are barely getting by. So that's the other people that I told them, I said, my garden is your garden this year. So anyway, so we've shared potatoes with them. This was also where the radishes were this spring, and they are completely done, and we're probably getting close to being able to replant radishes for a fall crop, and they will go in here. This is carrots. They're meh. I was kind of hopeful that they would do better, because they are like the colored carrots. So far we've pulled up like 3 carrots that were ready. The rest of them, I don't know whether I just planted them too late and it got too hot or what. I will admit this garden has halfway gone to pot, but you know. There was a cauliflower here and there's one here, and unfortunately we went away for a long weekend and came home and it has gone past its prime. So I will probably end up just pulling it and feeding it to the chickens. That was unfortunate. That was the first time I've ever grown cauliflower, and the first one worked. It wasn't great, but it worked. So hey, you know, it was a fun experiment. Someone gave us the plants. Right there is the peanut plant. I swear that thing has not gotten any bigger. I have put some fertilizer on it. I have composted it. I have babied it, and it's just not doing anything. Now, mind you, I've also let the weeds go in this area. This, and there's a smaller one back here. My phone wants to focus on my finger. Are zucchini plants, and I succession planted those, and I'm hoping I might end up succession planting some more over here. I'm hoping to keep the squash beetles off of them enough just to even just get a few zucchini off of each plant. We'll see, because you'll see over in the other garden that I have tried to fight the good fight, and it's been hit and miss. Okay, the broccoli, all of the main heads are done. Now they are shooting off these side stems, so I just come out. I've frozen about all I'm going to freeze because I'm running out of freezer space. So at this point, I'm just coming out, and whenever we want broccoli for a meal, I clip all of the little side shoots off, and yes, the weeds are taking over. This is what happens about this time of year, is we just kind of give up, because it's by the time I'm done picking, canning, putting up, there's just not much left of energy wise. We still have some cabbages out here. So far, we've picked some smaller cabbages, but I have not picked all of the big behemoth cabbages. But so far we have picked one that was 8 pounds and one that was 15 pounds. I'm going to guess this one's probably going to be close to 10 pounds. That one is huge. This was all broccoli as well, and it's done and dead. Here in the late fall, we will put some chickens in here and let them have this garden, and they will take care of all of it. Okay, so there's one that's not quite done. That one I just picked the other day. This one was like a week ago. I just picked this one yesterday, and we made kraut with it. That was that 15-pound one. And then this is the monster. It is not done yet because it's still pretty squishy, which just tells me that it's not like the layers aren't solid. I'll post a picture of the one that I picked yesterday. So it's huge. Like, I don't know if that like does it justice. I have big hands, like long fingers. This thing is probably going to be pushing 20 pounds when it's done. I am going to watch it carefully to make sure that it doesn't start rotting, but sauerkraut for days. Also, volunteer tomato plants all over this garden. We had the cherry tomato plants in here last year, and I think the chickens just spread them instead of eating all of the little bits. So that one is like refusing to form a head. We'll see what happens with it. We still have plenty of time because they like this cooler as the days are hopefully getting a little bit cooler. Probably not. We still have another month. See, this one's all bug bit. I think I probably need to come out and harvest it. But the way I've been doing it is harvesting a cabbage, making it into jars of sauerkraut, like quarts of sauerkraut, letting them ferment 3 to 5 days, putting those in the refrigerator, and then starting another batch, so that I'm having like 3 to 5 quarts going at once rather than having a bunch just for space sake, that kind of thing. So, all right, so that is an overview of the kitchen garden. Like I said, yes, I know it's weedy, but when we put the chickens in here, they will work all of this down, and it will be like magic, where it will go from looking like this to being completely scalped in a matter of like a month. And that's usually what we do, is we just put the smaller of our 2 coops on this one and let a flock of them, about tripped over the fence, let a flock of them break it down, and they just love it because they'll eat everything. So, all right, that is the kitchen garden. Hang on just a second. Okay, here's the chickens. I just interrupted the goose's bath, is right there, and he was taking a bath. I was so rude and interrupted his bath time. So they're all kind of hanging out. It's hot. It's toward the end of the day, but it's hot right now. So you can see they have a beautiful lush place to hang out. It gives them shelter, gives them places to duck if there's predators, and gives them stuff to eat on, that they are just happy all year round. We did this spring, partway through the spring, come through and mow all of this down, and I think we might end up doing that again, just to keep things like these weeds that the chickens don't want to eat from going to seed. so that hopefully they don't do that. And like there's an entire mulberry tree coming up because mulberries grow like crazy here. These are the chicks that we got this spring. There's a couple of them dust bathing in there is what they're doing. They are almost full grown now. We're waiting until they can't fit through the holes in the fence because these upper holes, some of the bigger ones or the smaller ones can still fit through there. So we're waiting for that, and then we will tag them, which is just putting zip ties around their legs. It does not hurt them in any way, shape, or form. We'll tag them with a color for this year. I will note that somewhere on a piece of paper. I'll write down what color this year's chicks are. And that way we know who is who. When they start getting a little bit older, if we chose to decrease our flock, we would get rid of the older birds. So when these guys start getting like 4 or 5 years old and they're only laying 1 egg a week, if we chose to decrease our flock, those would be the ones that we would do something called culling, which just means that we would be butchering them and they would become stew hens. We'd make some beautiful broth out of them. At that point, the meat's not great to eat because they're tough old ladies. Because yeah, chickens, if you like really baby them and like they're your pets, they can live like 10 years. But the average on a homestead like this is usually max of 6 to 7 years. And at that point, they're not laying much at all, if at all. So obviously we generally just keep ours around and let them hang out. But we're also wanting to kind of keep track of who lives the best, longest, healthiest, that kind of thing, so that we can continue on with those breeds. Because we did get 3 separate breeds this year. No, 4 separate breeds this year. So, all right. So that is the chickens. And then we'll walk over here to the main garden. The main garden is about 40 feet by 100 feet. So it is about 4,000 square foot, which is ridiculous when you consider our house is only 1,400 square feet. But it works. So here, yes, I know, weeds. It's a losing battle, y'all. I could stay on top of it, but then my house would be a mess. So, you know what I mean? It's like I can't do all of it. So this whole thing all through here is, I think I had 2, maybe 3 sweet potatoes survive. So that's what those are, and those were just for fun. Sweet potatoes aren't crazy to buy, like price-wise, and yeah. Anyway, so that's what those are, and then we have our 4 rows of green beans. The first 3 rows are producing. The last row I planted later, so they are not producing yet, but they're starting to flower. So, like I picked yesterday, and that bean is already about full grown. These are jade. They are by far my favorite. They are prolific. They are hardy. They make beautiful, like straight, tender green beans. Even if you let them overripe, they are still beautifully tender and delicious. So we are getting a plenty off of them right now. I picked almost 2 5-gallon buckets yesterday. We snapped all of them and cleaned all of them, and I got 9, 10, no, more than that. Like probably 14, gosh, I've already forgotten, quart bags of green beans. And I get that about every 3 days. I usually pick on Monday. We process on Tuesday. I clean up everything on Wednesday. And then Thursday we start all over again. I take Sunday off. So Monday is always a slightly heavier picking. In them is, if you have issues with the bean beetles, plant marigolds. There are marigolds planted all over. Just every like few feet I'd drop in marigold seeds as I was planting the green beans, and they stink. They are not a super pleasant smelling flower. They're just very pungent, and the plant itself plus the flowers are pungent, so that helps keep the bean beetles away. You'll still see some like bug damage, but not nearly as bad as you normally would. So the other key is moving them. Don't plant them in the same part of your garden every year. Helps. And especially if you can like move from one area of your homestead to another. If you have like 2 separate gardens, plant your green beans in one garden, and then the next year move them like to the other end of your homestead if you have that option. Tomatoes are doing okay. I don't know. I just feel like they're not getting super big. They are starting to produce, so we are starting to get some little baby cherry tomatoes. So I have 6 cherry tomatoes. I think that's the Wapsipacinicon one. I think that's how you pronounce it. And there are 6 different varieties of cherry tomatoes with the intent of sharing with friends and food pantry. That one's not quite. Oh, no, there's a few that are producing. That plant, I don't know. It's like almost non-existent. These are supposed to be the big, giant, like slicing tomatoes. We have had abnormally cool temperatures, so I wonder if that's playing into it. We like fertilized them when we planted them, added compost, the whole 9 yards. There's some romas forming, so I don't know. We'll see. If we just get enough for us for eating on this year, that's okay. Like us, and I will share with, we've got, like I said, those 2 other families, and then our librarian likes to get veggies off of us when she can, that kind of thing. So the cucumbers are, I'm not sure. I don't know whether this is the vine borer beetles that are doing this or something else, because some of the plants look fine and some of them don't. So we're getting cucumbers and we're getting a decent number. Like they're forming. There's a nice one. That one needs picked. That's about the size of cucumber that I like, because it's not too big, it's not seedy, it's not tough. So that's usually what I pick at. But yeah, you can see like little yellow flowers all over. So they're still producing. They're just not the prettiest. Like, I have no idea. I'm tired, y'all. So my garden is is what it is this year, and I'm totally fine with that. We're getting food. Like, I'm not worried about us not having food to eat and food to put up, but I'm not going to like drive myself nuts over it. This is an area where the weeds got really bad, and so I put down cardboard boxes, and that's totally fine. Put those down. You could put grass clippings on top of it. Everywhere else we just put grass clippings, but you can see they aren't always 100%. This area I had put grass clippings early this spring. It was the first place I put down grass clippings, and they made their way right up on through it. So I put down the boxes, and you can put grass on top of that, or you can leave them be. If you put grass on top, the boxes will break down and compost, and you can leave them. If you don't put grass clippings on top, I have found that they don't generally go ahead and break down all the way. Like eventually maybe, but not as good. So that's a great weed barrier because nothing's coming through that. Basil is doing great. We've been picking it as we need it, and I have frozen some and given some to friends. The peppers are just starting to set on. Once again, we have had like cool temperatures and rainy, and then like warm and dry. So I think they just haven't enjoyed this weather, but we're starting to see baby peppers and flowers. There's a decent sized one. That one will probably be ready soon. So these up front are the snack peppers. They're beautiful plants, like they're big and bushy. So I think we'll probably get plenty off of them. These are all snack peppers. And then there should be a little group of banana peppers. I'm not sure how many made it because they, when I planted them out, didn't look great. And then a small amount of bell peppers. We don't eat a whole lot of peppers. Oh yeah, hey, look at there. There's some banana peppers. My plan with those is to make some pickled banana peppers, like for Mississippi pot roast with those. Yay, I'm glad to see those are doing it. And I'm pulling weeds as I go. Y'all, real life. So, yeah, we just aren't huge pepper eaters. We will eat fajitas sometimes. The things like fajitas tend to hurt my stomach, like taco stuff. And one of my kiddos is still the same way. So we do, however, during the summer, I love to put peppers on the grill and have peppers and like brats. So they just don't freeze as well. Once you freeze them, they don't taste as good. But so the bell peppers are mostly to give away. The snacking peppers, my kids will eat a metric butt ton of those throughout the summer. And then we will give away as well. That's always my goal with my garden, is to produce everything that we need and give away whatever's extra. I'm sorry. I'm literally just pulling weeds right now. Okay, zinnias. Oh, I love zinnias. They're so my favorite. They grow so prolifically. They grow beautiful. They grow. Oh, look at, there's a butterfly on it. Oh, don't go away. They grow beautifully. They produce beautifully. And they like all of these different colors. Like, seriously. And then you get into, like, okay, this is one of my favorites. Is she not just gorgeous? And then, oh, the candy stripe ones are another of my favorite. And they come out different colors too, because this is also a candy stripe that's yellow. Oh, this one's a pretty one too. Hey, my phone is doing really good on focusing. Just such vibrant, beautiful colors. I love it. Look at like the little tiny flowers inside the big flower. Oh, yes. Okay, I could gush over zinnias. Okay, wait. One more. I'll show you this one. Look at the edges on that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, maybe just one more, because look at this one. Like the variegation, I love it. Okay, I'm gushing. So yes, I do love me some zinnias. Look, we got butterfly friends again. The sunflowers are starting to bloom, and they are getting massive. Those are at least 10 feet tall. Are the they're called Russian giant, I think. But what I do is at the end of the year, I will go to Dollar Tree, Rural King, wherever, and I will buy the sunflower seeds at the end of the year, whatever they have on sale. So some of them are going to be the giant mammoth ones. Some of them are going to be like this, I think it was called like a lemon head or something like that. Oh, there, we've got a bee on that one. That put off multiple heads per one. I mean, you can tell, like, seriously, I'm having to like point almost straight up to see that. So they are doing beautifully and just starting to flower. Some of them, ooh, that one's got, well, one, it's covered in bees. Let's see if we can not disturb them. But then it's got like multiple colors too. I hope you can see that well. Okay, the vining end of the garden. You're going to see some of this is starting to die because of the squash beetles. We did okay. We are going to get a large crop of spaghetti squash, which is a big thing that I wanted to get. There's a huge one right there. We do have some baby watermelon and some baby cantaloupe that I'll show you. The big leaf ones were what's called a trap crop. And it's supposed to be that the vine borer beetles like them better than anything else. And so they go after them and attack them. I am not finding that to be true, because that's it and is living just fine. And this is a spaghetti squash right next to it and is dying. So I'm not sure if I agree with that statement or not. I do have a friend that said she has a organic recipe that is like garlic, cayenne pepper, peppermint, that kind of thing that you make. And she said that it works wonders. So she's going to send me the recipe for that, and we'll see. That watermelon vine ain't looking too great. It's hot and dry. We are supposed to start getting some rain, so hopefully that will help. But there's a baby watermelon. There's a couple of the trap crop ones. They are blue Hubbard squash, which they are edible, like they are usable. So it'll be like a butternut squash, pumpkin kind of situation. So there's a couple of cantaloupe. There's one there, and there's a smaller one there hiding. At least I think they're cantaloupe. I don't even know at this point. There was something there that died. There was supposed to be like a couple more that way that died. There's a watermelon that's looking great, and there's a couple of, look at the little baby watermelon. Aren't they so cute? And the little curly cues. I have a thing for baby things, if you didn't know. This is a delicata squash, or delectica squash. I can't remember how it's pronounced. It is a squash that is good. It's a lower carb squash. So it's doing good. It's producing. And there's quite a few more flowers and little baby ones sitting on. So that's nice. There's another spaghetti squash that's dying, but the squash have gotten big enough. Look at how beautiful that is. Look, almost as big as my foot. So they're doing okay. I've done okay with the weeds on this end of the garden. So there's another spaghetti squash through there. I'm going to have a bunch of spaghetti squash. Those are I think those are the Yeah, maybe. I think that one, that trap crop, the blue Hubbard squash, has just taken over. I think those are spaghetti squash, but man, they look funny. They look different because they're all stripy and green. Whereas, like, that one isn't. Interesting. I don't think I saved seed last year, because if you save seed from squash, they cross-pollinate like mad. But I don't think they're the blue Hubbard squash, because the blue Hubbard squash are dark green. Look at all of those baby ones. Even if we do nothing else besides use them as decoration, they'd be fun this fall for, like, using as pumpkins, because they're a harder squash, so... There goes an apple falling out of our trees. So the apples, okay, here's a fun fact. Didn't know if you knew this. Apples, apple trees, these are two very old growth apple trees. They, in June, it's called June drop. So in June, they will produce gangbuster amounts of apples. They get to June and they start dropping any extra apples that the tree feels like it can't support. So anything that it's like, nope, I don't have, this year is going to be a hard year, whatever, they'll drop them. So that has happened, and now we are starting to get actually good apples dropping. Some of these were hit by the lawnmower. There are still a bunch of the June drop apples on there, but like that one might be one that just fell out of the tree. It's a little worse for the wear on the back, but they're actually like decent sized apples. So I don't know why they're starting to produce so early this year. Like that they're actually mostly, oh, there's a bee in that one, I think. Oh, no, it must have flown out. I have a job, that bucket right there. That's one of the jobs that we give the kids, is they can come out and pick up, if they pick up that bucket full of apples and throw them to the chickens, they earn 25 cents. So it's, one, it gets this from not being such a mess, because this will turn out to be gross out under this tree. Especially if my husband comes out and mows. And then two, it's free food for the chickens. So it's a win-win situation. So that's, the apples are still loaded. They're still small, so they're not done yet by any stretch. We've got a couple more months before they'll be ready, but it's loaded and looking good. These are the world's most tart apples. Seriously, you cannot just come out and just take a bite out of them. Now, a couple of my kids will. They think that they like the tart apples. I am not a fan, but we don't spray with anything, so they're going to be bug eaten and that kind of thing, but they get the job done. We generally just come out and dehydrate them is the main use that we have for them. So yep, that's that. Oh, here, I'll show you. There's the asparagus and the strawberries. That's all the bigger of a patch of strawberries that we have. I really need to look at these, like I transplanted them 4 or 5 years ago, and they are thick in there. I really need to get in and thin them out and make a bigger space and not so deep, because as it is, you have to be in it to get the strawberries. So, but the idea behind having your asparagus and your strawberries in the same place is that they are completely fine growing together. The strawberries are a surface grower. They don't grow super deep roots, and so the crowns of the asparagus do. And then when the asparagus comes up and bushes out, it protects the strawberry plants from aerial predators like birds coming and eating your strawberries, and keeps them cool longer so they'll produce longer. And that is asparagus seeds. Those will drop and produce new baby asparagus, like these fronds here are new baby asparagus. So yeah, that's on my list of projects that need done, you know, the mile-long list. The blackberries and raspberries all along the fence, and then my, come on, stop focusing on my finger. Right through there, I transplanted some sunflowers that had sprouted in my garden and have come up. So, oh, there, dropped another apple. And it's like, they're big apples, the ones that are dropping. I wonder if it's from the other tree. The other tree, so the main tree produces a lot of apples. I'm going to get hit by an apple if I stand out under here. This main tree produces a lot of apples, but they're smaller. And then the other tree produces see, look at that one. That was a nice sized apple. The other tree produces almost no apples, you can see. Hopefully you can see. But they tend to be bigger and better apples, and they kind of taste better. So, yeah, win some, lose some. So, all right. That's the garden. Thank you guys for sticking around with me and understanding that my life got crazy there for a while and I wasn't doing any filming. And like today we went to the grocery store and I was like, we got home, it was lunchtime, and I was like, I just can't. It was hot. I didn't want to leave the groceries out for very long, so I just didn't. I'm sorry. I'm failing at this, but I'm gonna throw these 2 apples to the chickens and then I'm gonna go inside, and it's probably about time to make dinner. So thank you for watching this. I hope your garden is growing beautifully. Maybe your tomatoes are doing better than mine. It seems like every year one thing does great and another thing does awful. At least I'm getting spaghetti squash this year. So yeah, all right. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye and God bless.